Session by Jesse Sutanto. So let's get started. And the first part is Boy Meets Girl. And chapter 1 starts with Logan. So let's start. Miss Taylor gave me a smile, the kind I'd secretly doubt the smoothing guidance counselor smile. She wore it in the way she wrote her soft cardigan, a conscious choice made to put problem students like myself at ease. How was your summer, Logan? Fine. My summer had been spent in a haze of Netflix and scrolling through pictures of Sophie until inky night gave the way to watery sunlight and my brain felt like it was about to dribble out of my ears. It was great, actually. I got lots of rest. My voice came out thick and slow. Maybe because I hadn't been sleeping well and always felt like I was groping my way through a fog. Maybe I had a permanent lump in my throat. That's wonderful to hear, Logan. Why did she always have to say my name at the end of every sentence? Are you feeling prepared for the new semester, Logan? Yeah, I said. I'm ready to join the team again. Miss Taylor's smile lost some wattage. Let's come back to the lacrosse later, after our chat. I tried to find this familiar anger, the old gunpowder barrel of energy that would wrench out of this murk and make me feel something. It was there. I knew it was. I could feel it lurking on the edges, reaching out for me. But I was tired. Honestly, I wasn't even sure I cared about getting back on the team. But Dad said what I really needed was to get back on sports, get a good sweat going, trash it out on the field. Like I could only run hard enough. I'll be able to outturn Sophie's ghost. When we talked last spring, you were going through a really challenging time. I winced at the memory of my last session with Miss Taylor. I'd been consumed by rage then. I'd called her a bitch, and then something worse, and then she sat there silently, looking disappointed. I'm sorry, I mumbled. Miss Taylor smiled. Thank you, Logan. I appreciate that. How are you feeling about being back at Draycott? Like I was thirsting into a graveyard, ghosts everywhere. But I had to move on. Sophie would have wanted me to move on. I'm fine, really. I just kind of derailed by my classmate's death. Made me question my own mortality or whatever. How ridiculous to refer the love of my life as a classmate. Like we were strangers who passed each other in the hall. Miss Taylor gave me a sympathetic grimace. I understand. No, you fucking don't. No one knew Sophie like I did. No one had any idea how her death had completely devastated my life. We never dated. Not officially. But our love was real deal. Nobody understood though. She's leading you on, they told me. They didn't know what Sophie was like when it was just us. I turned out the next few minutes as Miss Taylor rambled on about how she expected great and wonderful things from me and how she'd have a clear chat with the coach about letting me back on the team and how I totally would be allowed back as long as I pulled my grades up and didn't mouth off to teachers again and behave like a good little boy. You'd be fine, Logan. I believe in you. You're a good kid, she said, getting up. You're going to do great things this semester. I know it. Her words stayed with me as I walked back to my dorm room. Do great things. I felt more like a threat than anything. Do great things or get suspended again, maybe expelled. Do great things or get rejected by every college and be a loser for the rest of your life. I checked my phone. I had close to an hour before the assembly. Early morning sun was painting everything a golden hue. The lush, the rolling fields, the ivy wrapped around Draycott's Academy's sandstone building, everything shore with warmth. Another slow wave of resentment before Sophie died. I would have stood still and taken it all in. I would ask her to walk with me to the rose garden to admire the dewy flowers before telling her she was more than beautiful than any rose. Now beauty was wasted on me. I trudged back to my room, and got ready for class. But by the time I put on my navy blue blazer, gathered all my books, and messed up my hair just the right way, I was exhausted. I walked to the common room where Josh was finishing up his coffee. He waved at me and smiled. Was his smile just the slightest bit strained? I tried my best to smile like I meant it. Hey man, how was your summer? He asked, giving me one armed hug. It was okay. How was yours? Josh started yapping about how his folks had taken him and his sister to Bordeaux for the summer. Somehow, I managed to follow him out of the dorm. Summer was still clinging into the air with sticky stubbornness. Never mind the fact that it was already September and Draycott Academy was surrounded by lush, green Northern California hills. All around was exciting, like, oh my god, did you guys hook up over the break? Did you see Jenna's new boobs? Groups of too cool to care seniors and terrified freshmen chattered and shrieked, giggled. And I was so done with my schoolmates. It wasn't even mine. It wasn't even 9 o'clock yet, but my shirt was already sticking to my back with sweat. I struggled to pay attention to Josh's incessant chatter. I was imagining it. There was definitely a strange quality to his cheerfulness, like he was determined to talk to me the way he used to be able to. What was he even going on about? Something about hooking up with the French girl over the summer. Try harder. I lost so many friends over the past year. I couldn't afford to lose Josh, too. Sounds hot, I said. That was the most I could come up with. Josh laughed like I just had something exceptional. Yeah, man, it was totally hot. He gave me his usual not a care in the world grin, but I didn't miss a flash of concern in his eyes. I wasn't sure if he was worried about me or his own social status. Someone shouted as we made our way across the quad, catching my attention. A handful of were playing with frisbee in the commons. They leapt and ran like gleeful labradors. I watched them and wondered what it was like to be so invested in the game. I used to be into this stuff too, but for the life of me, now I couldn't remember what it felt like. Distracted, I started when I bumped into someone. No, not someone. Her. My phone slipped out of my hand and my screen lit up when it bounced on the ground. 9:01 a.m. I remember those exact numbers for the rest of my life. The exact time, down to the minute when the universe lifted its slow, giant hands, reached straight through my skull into the center of my brain, said, "You've gone through enough, Logan. Here she is. I am delivering her to you personally. She's all yours." I wanted to grab her, feel her warm flesh beneath my fingers, and check if she was real. Her face was eerily similar to Sophie's, and they swam in my mind and overlapped. "I am so sorry," she exclaimed. Her eyes met mine for a split second. She crouched down and picked up my phone. "I hope I didn't break it." Her voice was sincere and shy, and she was biting her lower lip slightly. Her eyebrows furrowed like she was genuinely worried, and God, I wanted to tell her it was okay. Everything was okay because she was here. I bet she tasted like strawberries at the height of summer. I searched my mind for something memorable to say, something to put a smile on those lips of hers. "You did." Oh my god, why did I say that? It was true. There was a giant crack on my phone, but who gives a shit? Panic crossed her, Panic crossed her face. "I am so sorry. I'll pay you back. But it might have to be in installments." Those were tears in her eyes. Holy crap. "It's fine," I said. I meant it to come out reassuring, but it came out gruff. I might as well be hobbling, waving my cane, yelling at kids to get off my lawn. Josh might have sensed the disaster. Finally, because he laughed and said, "Don't worry about it. Logan here can afford like a million of these things." I wanted to throttle him. I at least had a chance to excuse Sophie Fogg. Josh was just a massive idiot. He probably thought he was making the situation better. Like telling girls my family was loaded will help me get laid. The girl's forehead turned red. Her entire face shut down. Fucking Josh. Fucking guidance counselor. I am so sorry. Her voice cracked a little. I couldn't bear to see her perfect face so tortured. I mumbled something about being okay and walked away. I didn't look back, even though her presence, her aura, everything about her burned a hole in my back. And I was left alone with Josh who couldn't possibly grasp what was just happening. How the skies had parted so universe could bring down this gift to me, and how I'd royally messed it all up. I fed Josh some bullshit about how I wasn't feeling well, though in fact, I was feeling like I'd come back to life. Mortified, yes, but mortification was better than being a zombie. I bounded her, hungry, famished, really to catch more of her. She disappeared into the Wheeler Hall where the science classes were located. Then I pushed through the double doors. I was greeted by a sea of students, all and tan skin and newly dyed hair. I lost her. I spent the next period hiding in one of the restrooms at Wheeler so no one would notice I was cutting class. It wasn't like I couldn't explain why I had to do this. None of them would understand. They judged me again, just like Mom did when she found all those pictures and videos of Sophie. Not that it mattered. It was all in the past. It was although everything had happened with was to prepare me for this girl. I closed my eyes and thought of her. Though guys like Josh wouldn't find her hot, I noticed a subtle beauty. She looked half Asian, half white. Sophie was a Japanese descent. At first glance, the girl could have been Sophie's sister. There was differences though. Sophie was all about makeup, her lips colored in gloss, like her skin smooth, airbrushed, her eyes lined so her gaze was piercing and impossible to ignore. I never once saw Sophie without makeup, even towards the end, when everyone said she was losing it. Even then, she still kicked the stuff on. This girl looked like Sophie's unmasked, fresh, naked. Maybe just a touch of balm on those shaped lips. What would it be like to kiss her, to taste her? I willed myself from the thoughts of the mystery girl's lips to the rest of her, the way she moved, the way she hunched her shoulders ever so slightly, the way she turned her head and casted her eyes downward, not quite at her feet. The flash of alarm had sparked through my eyes when I dropped my phone. She was shy. There was some that was much obvious. That much was obvious. I couldn't care. I couldn't mess this up. I'd lost so much already. I came up of my hiding place and stationed myself on the landing between the first and second floor. A short while later, the bell clanged and the kids flooded the hallways, blocking my view. I wanted to scream at them to stop chattering, stop fucking moving. And there she was, walking next to Aisha Johnson. So, a senior then, like me. I could not move towards her. She was so magnetic. How could all these idiots not notice her? I had to remind myself to keep a distance between us. Not so hard once you get used to it, Aisha was saying. Someone jolted me. I missed the next few words. I wanted to strangle everybody around us. Luckily, once we were outside, I could make one more of what they were saying. Volleyball tryouts later, the girl said. Her voice was like a finger licking a light switch in my head, making everything stunningly bright. Ah, I'm so excited, Aisha said. I'm so glad you're here, Dee. I expected Dee to smile and tell Aisha how she was how glad she was here to be how glad she was to be here too. But instead an awkward silence followed. I'm sorry, I didn't mean obviously I'm not glad about what brought you here, Aisha's voice trailed off and she fidgeted with her hands. No, it's fine. I know what you mean. I missed you so much when you started boarding here, and yes, I know we keep in touch, but it's not the same. Definitely not the same. Aisha grinned at her. Do you need a tour of this place? No, I pretty much know where everything is. Oh yeah, I forgot. You started working here over the summer instead of hanging out with me. Dee laughed. Oh man, I couldn't believe we were going to the same school again after all this time. Delilah and Aisha united again. Delilah, I said silently, letting my tongue caress each syllable, tasting it. Delilah, the name of my destiny. I followed her until she disappeared into the next class, and I stood there for a while, smiling, my first real smile in a long time. Do great things. Miss Taylor had no fucking clue how great this semester was going to be. That's the end of The Obsession, Chapter 1.